Welcome back to the channel, guys. A bit of a rant video today. I've recently been going through a bit of a binge in regards to Lord of the Rings games, and one of those games that I actually really love happens to be an RPG. Now, I haven't covered many JRPGs, RPGs or turn-based RPGs on this channel. I admit I'm not the biggest fan, okay? But there are exceptions. Final Fantasy VII being an RPG, JRPG specifically, that I absolutely love. And the other being Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. And it's kind of a Western style RPG, turn-based. And the thing is, I'm not aware of any other ones, to be honest. So I'm really interested actually in the comments straight away, if folks can share with me some RPGs that are more Western based. Now, I know Final Fantasy VII is not, but to be honest with you, it kind of introduced JRPGs to a Western audience. Maybe that's the way I should be saying it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's cover The Third Age and why I really enjoy it. So, what I like about The Third Age, it has a really traditional feel to it. Again, the combat system, very similar to that of Final Fantasy VII, or even maybe closer to Final Fantasy X to an extent. Now bear in mind, it's not as complex in regards to how your character is upgraded, because Final Fantasy X uses a sphere grid system. This uses a base stats system which you can upgrade your stats, equip new equipment that you find in the world, and it also has an item menu which allows you to use various items which boost your stats, heal you, give you back action points, etc. As for learning new skills, it kind of works on a skill tree system. You can select which skills you want to learn next, and then by reusing a particular craft or magic, it assigns stat points to that new skill that you will eventually unlock over time. As for general navigation, it works something very similar to Final Fantasy X, that it uses a radar in the top right hand corner to give you a fair idea where you need to go. There is certain multiple paths, more so for kind of side missions, side quests and or item finding, but the primary A to B kind of is in maybe essentially a straight line to an extent. There is an overworld map per se, but in order to gain access to areas, you can only really travel back to areas which you've previously been, so chapter by chapter basis. In fairness, if you were to look at this game critically, you would call it a fairly linear turn-based RPG, more linear than the norm to an extent, but I actually enjoy that. I like linearity in my games. Sometimes I don't want everything to be a big massive open world all the time. The most important thing for me is that this game is fun and is addictive. It is really addictive. The other aspect I really enjoy about this is it's not a direct retelling of Lord of the Rings as you've seen from the action games I've covered here in the past. It's actually a brand new story with a new set of characters set in around the same time as when the films take place. So you get to see a lot of the film locations, locales, and where the characters from the films have actually been as you progress through the story, which is really cool. And it also unlocks these kind of scenes. There's like 114 of them in total. That actually adds a little bit more backstory to the movie itself. The story is also well written, and it got some pretty witty dialogue, to be fair.
This one is easy to track. He melts the very rock. I have never seen such power. Here, you lead on, so you may see him first.
Obviously, with this being a turn-based RPG, you're going to be spending a lot of time in combat. And thankfully, the system is really cool to use. It's impactful, so all the moves seem really super cool. It's actually a fantastic looking game as well on the original Xbox, to note. The graphics hold up really well. And the system works perfectly for what it is. You can have a total of 3 main characters in your party, but you can hot swap out other characters on the fly during battle. So there's actually 6 characters in total when you play the game through its entirety, but as I mentioned, you can hot swap them out by pressing the white button, and you can switch in between roles, and obviously each character has their own benefits and weaknesses. Do keep in mind though, as I said, there's a lot of combat, and I mean a lot, and it being a turn-based RPG, random encounters are present here, and you know, that's kind of a like it or hate it scenario for some folks. I think it's handled well here. What they do is they use particular areas of maps, and it kind of shows up as a little Eye of Sauron If you're running around in a particular area for too long, you'll automatically get into combat. And also combat is triggered when you get near chests or you get through main parts of the story. Bear in mind as well, some bosses will require you to grind. I've faced certain bosses and I just haven't been high level enough, so I've had to go back and grind. So do prepare yourself for a lot of this. Anyway guys, some final thoughts on today's video. As I mentioned, I'd love to see more of these Western style turn-based RPGs. I just can't find them anywhere, to be honest. So, as I mentioned at the start of the video, please do share some down in the comments if you're aware of any of them. And guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. And if you're new to the channel, please consider supporting me and subscribing. Let me know if you want me to do more of these videos. Start covering RPGs. Again, it's not something I've done on the channel previously. Apologies about my voice today. I've had a really sore throat all week, so that's why I sound a bit croaky. But hopefully I should be good for the next video. Anyway guys, appreciate the support. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.